Hello, and welcome to the Supply Knowledge Strategic Sourcing Program. In this course, we'll examine the various aspects of pricing that are key to effectively controlling the company's supply management operations, and, along with risk and value, look at the many elements operating in the marketplace that affect prices. This course examines various aspects of pricing that are major elements to effectively controlling the company's supply management operations. We'll also look briefly at some of the more important elements operating in the marketplace that act to help determine prices. It's always helpful to have a definition of the subject so that everyone stays on the same page. Price analysis is the process of examining and evaluating a proposed price without evaluating its separate elements of cost and profit. In conducting price analysis, we are rarely concerned with analyzing cost or considering profit. We'll see why this is so as we get into more detail. You'll want to understand that cost and price are entirely different entities, fundamentally different concepts. Price analysis is a process of evaluation, largely determined by analyzing conditions in the market. Cost analysis is a method of accounting, the allocation of actual expenses to the different expenses incurred in creating a product or delivering a service. So simply put, the supplier offers a price, and that price, when the purchase is made, then becomes the buyer's cost. One of the key objectives in any price analysis is to determine if the proposed pricing is fair and reasonable. What do we mean by fair and reasonable? A reasonable price is a price that a prudent and competent buyer would be willing to pay given the available data on market conditions, alternatives for meeting the requirement, the evaluated price of each alternative, and technical evaluation factors such as trade-offs. A fair price is one that is fair to the buyer, fair to the seller, and reasonable under market conditions. There are two questions we'll also want to consider. When is it reasonable to consider costs as a factor in determining the price of a product or service? There are times when the requirements are vague or unknown. In such cases, it would be difficult, if not impossible, to find a supplier or contractor willing to quote a firm price. Under these conditions, the buyer will need to use a cost-plus contract, or time and materials, where the provider is reimbursed for actual costs and, in addition, receives an agreed-upon markup and a profit or fee. In such cases, a cost breakdown from potential suppliers is necessary so that you can compare them and select the supplier that best meets the organization's needs. Can cost be used as a basis for comparing the price of a particular product being quoted by several suppliers? Cost is generally not considered in the procurement of commercial products. However, as noted, there are times when we would be unable to find a supplier willing to take the risk of a firm fixed contract under such conditions, so we must compare the costs being quoted. Here's one of the key points in price analysis. Remember that market conditions, not the supplier's costs, usually determine selling price. When we refer to market conditions, we generally mean supply and demand, and how they interact to affect prices. We hope you found this course of value. Thanks for participating, and we're looking forward to joining you in our other courses. If you have comments and questions, they're always welcome. You can email us at this address.